Hey you, yeah you who clicked on this video. Thanks for giving our channel a shot. And if you will, please do us the honor of watching the video all the way through. Appreciate it. Now onto the video.
Single female lawyer fighting for her client, wearing sexy mini skirts and being self-reliant. Hey, I'm pretty good.
So, She-Hulk episode 2, entitled Superhuman Law, has come out. Let's talk about it. So, in this episode of She-Hulk, we see the aftermath of the events at the end of episode 1. And basically what's going on here is that due to She-Hulk's intervention in basically the wholesale slaughter of the jury that was about to happen at the hands of Titania, yes, that is the villain who we saw at the end of episode 1, Jennifer is now fired because apparently the judge had to rule the trial a mistrial because basically a form of jury tampering in which because She-Hulk intervened, they now have a bias toward her because she saved their lives. So the trial is deemed a mistrial, and she is then let go at her job as assistant DA. So, you know, she's now down in the dumps, feeling sorry for herself. She's looking for work because, I mean, you know, high-rise apartments don't pay for themselves, and we need something to move this plot along. Because this episode kind of commits one of a worse sin than the first episode, in that the first episode might have been patronizing, pandering, and just overall over the top, you know, canonically unsound. This episode is kind of boring. So, Jennifer is invited to a family dinner, which she apparently forgot about. And in this, they kind of, you know, throw jabs at her about, you know, losing her job, but it's okay because, you know, she's still a superhero. And, you know, you go through family stuff. It's actually kind of the sweeter side of this show so far, in the fact that it didn't need to delve into identity politics or, you know, radical feminism of any sort. It's just a really fun family scene. And, you know, a lot of us go through this with families. You know, your family thinks that, you know, that your job isn't that important. They also think that, you know, minor accomplishments by family members, aka I think it's either her brother or her cousin. I want to say it's her cousin, you know, who just got promoted at the Best Buy despite not understanding how electronics work. He got promoted in the Geek Squad, which is funny. But one of the more endearing scenes is, you know, you could tell that she's depressed and she goes into the garage because her dad asked her, basically is asking her to do a task, but that's really just a subterfuge to get her away from the rest of the family so that her dad can really talk to her, give her some sagely advice, and, you know, just do what dads do, which is reassure and, you know, let the children know that it's not that bad. So I really enjoyed that scene. So then we get to a bar scene where basically Jennifer is at her favorite watering hole that she normally, you know, goes to, you know, to get drinks with friends after a case or whatever. And, you know, she's still down in the dumps because she hasn't found any work. And she is approached by none other than Holden Holloway, one of the partners at GLK&H. He's the H in GLK&H. And he basically says that, you know, without the interference by Titania, that they would have lost the case, and basically she would have mopped the floor with them. So in a way, he's grateful that she is the She-Hulk because they didn't have to lose a case. However, he wants to offer her a job, and not just any job, but he wants her to head their superhero representation division, which would specialize in representing superpowered individuals in their court cases. And, you know, of course, she jumps at the chance. But what's interesting is that, and this is going to be a theme throughout this entire episode, but she incessantly interrupts people when they're trying to give her more information that she really needs. But because she's either just excited or kind of just an asshole, I'm not really sure which one. But she interrupts him, says, "I'll take the job, whatever, whatever." But then she makes this like she thinks she's doing something, and she's like, "Yeah, I have one stipulation because she got to look after her peoples and whatnot." So she's like, "I get to hire my own paralegal." And this dude, who obviously has a very profitable law firm, is looking at her like, "I don't care who you hire as a paralegal. See you on Monday." So, she's excited about this. However, he then reveals to her that she has to represent herself as the She-Hulk and not as Jennifer Walters, which in this particular situation, I mean, She-Hulk and Jennifer Walters are one and the same. It's just one is super hot and, over 6 feet tall, and the other one is a really dumbed down Tatiana Maslany. And I say that as a fan of hers, especially from Orphan Black, but they really go out of their way to make her unattractive. And I understand kind of why, in a sense, because you definitely want to accentuate how, that you want to accentuate the differences between her and She-Hulk. But I don't feel like doing the most when it concerns this is necessary. Now, what I did find really cool about this is that when she goes into work, she's obviously wearing oversized clothing, and they don't try to, basically movie magic that away by, saying, "Oh, she's got like some Stark tech on that stretches her outfits," or, something lame like that. No, she's just wearing oversized clothing with spandex underneath. So when she does turn into She-Hulk, the clothes fit. Okay, cool. So after Mr. Holloway reveals that she will in fact have to be She-Hulk 100% of the time at work, not just in the courtroom, but also at the offices, because she represents the Superhuman division. Therefore, she has to, represent it all the time to clients and whatnot. She, of course, gets an attitude because that's what she does. My thing is, if you don't want to, work within the stipulations of your job, then go independent. But that's not what you're going to do because you want to work for somebody else. Okay. But everybody has to go through this. This isn't unique to women. This is an entire thing about working. Every job has stipulations and requirements, and whether you're willing to fulfill them or not will determine whether or not you keep a job. But of course, everything that happens to She-Hulk has to be made into some sort of monumental deal as opposed to it just being a mundane part of life. Because again, this is just superhero Ally McBeal. So she is then given what her first assignment will be. And unfortunately for her, they want her to represent Emil Blonsky, aka the Abomination. And of course, she does bring up some real ethical concerns with this, being that Abomination did try to murder the Hulk at one point, aka Bruce Banner, aka her cousin. So, she might feel some kind of way. I understand that. But Boss Man tells her straight up, look, either you're going to take this case because it's our first major case, this is a big deal, or, you can kick rocks because this is what we need you for. So he gives her some time to think about it. She thinks about it. She goes to meet with Blonsky, and he has been turned into, you guessed it, a gigantic whining simp. And it's weird because at first I felt like he's manipulating Jennifer, but then it almost seems like he really believes his own BS. But what he does bring up, and where this show really could go in a really positive direction, is that he does mention the fact that prior to being given this experimental cocktail bootleg version of the super soldier serum by the person that will later become the Red Hulk, spoilers, but General Thunderbolt Ross, he was a war hero. He was a well-decorated soldier. He had a very pristine record. And now that he was basically experimented on, he, lost his mind and he committed crimes, but they technically weren't his fault. And I feel like this is where this show could really go places if they focus on the legal aspects of having superpowers and the context in which certain acts are committed. But as soon as this kind of interesting idea pops up, it kind of like just quickly gets hand waved away. And I don't know if they'll bring it back, but She then decides, after meeting with Blonsky, that she's going to take the case, but she needs to get the blessing of Bruce, which is just hilarious because it's not like they care about Bruce in any real way in the show. It's not like the writers care about that or canon or anything else, but I guess now is the time. So, she basically calls Bruce to get confirmation or to get acceptance for what she's already decided to do, which is, again, she's just going on and on and on and interrupting him throughout the entire conversation because she's already really made up her mind as to what she wants to do, and she just needs acceptance for what she's already planning on doing. And Bruce gives it to her because he has no character in this show, and he's simply just window dressing to legitimize this very derivative version of a derivative character. So this happens, he gives his blessing, and then we're off to the races until a monkey wrench is thrown in because they then show the footage from Shang-Chi where it's shown that the abomination, aka Emil Blonsky, is now apparently being seen in an underground fighting ring, which that happened in Shang-Chi, as we've already mentioned, and now she has to figure out a new way in which to represent him so that she can win the case. Dun dun dun! But again, aside from the abomination stuff and a few funny jokes, this was a more boring episode, but it was also more tolerable for, the insufferable She-Hulk. So, I'll see you guys next episode. We'll see how this show is going. Like I said, I don't want to give up on this immediately, and I definitely want to highlight the positives of the show, but I'm not going to ignore the elephant in the room, the giant green elephant in the room. That is the fact that this show ignores canon and continues to just really be disrespectful of a really beloved comic book character. So with that being said, guys, let us know what you thought about this recap in the comment section below. We'll see you on the next one. 8-Bit Heroes out. Peace.
If you'd like to get a shout out on the channel, then hit that like button, maybe share it with a couple of friends, and do us the biggest honor of all, and subscribe to the channel so you can join the 8-Bit Heroes family. And while you're at it, hit that bell icon so you can be notified when our new videos come out.